All right, so geometry, chapter 1 review. When we get done going over the review here, we'll talk about the test in class. What's another, please guys, what's another name for, other names for line WQ? Well, we could call it, it's kind of lame, but we could call it QW. Or line little g. Line little g. Well, if you use a little letter, you use it by itself. Go ahead.
Could you put Ray?
No, it needs another name for the line. Plain, another name for plain V. You can use any of those 4 letters. You have to use 3 of those 4 letters. You can't use W, it's not in the plain. You can't use the V, it's already been used. So plain RQ, RQT, or RST, or QST. You cannot put SQR because you're supposed to go, TS. What's this supposed to be? TSQ. You can't use collinear points. So you wouldn't be able to use RQS or SQR. You can't use 3 collinear points. Make sure one of them's not on the line.
Do we put like the line thingy above it? Like
no, not for plain. You put the word plain.
Can we use these on our midterm?
No. I'm going to go on. I'm going to ask you guys to stop interrupting me, and when we get done, if I have to go back to something, I will. Put stars next to things. Name 3 points that are collinear. Well, we've just been talking about them. R, Q, and S. Then name a 4th point that is not collinear with that one. R, Q, and S are collinear. What's the other one in the plane?
I said F.
You can't use F. F is the name of a line. It should be T. F is the name, another name for line QS. Name a point that's not coplanar with R, S, and T. The only one is W. The only one is W. Because if you guys remember me doing like note cards where I would go and say, okay, here's my plane. Here's my plane that has this line. What line's in here? R, Q, S. And then that line G comes down through it, and it contains line W out here. So W is the only one that isn't on there. Let's go to the second page. These guys, find FH. F to H is the whole thing. I'm just going to go through and highlight while you guys turn your page here. FH, FH, FH. FH is part of it. FH is part. FH is part. FH is part. If we have the whole thing, we add. 15 would be FH would be 8 plus 14, or 22. In 16, FH would be 19 plus 7, or 26. In 17, FH is put together 11 and 12 for 23. For 18, FH is 4 plus 15, or 19. Now we're looking for a part, so we're going to subtract. FH in number 19 is 37 minus 13. What's left if I cut this off? That one's 24. In number 20, FH is, the whole thing is 22. Let's subtract away 15, that's 7. FH is a part. 42 minus 22 is 20. FH is a part. Whole thing is 53 minus 40. Last one there is 13. If it's on the review, it's on the exam. The next section. Identify the segment bisector of RS, then find RS. Let me just do it this way. In number 3, segment bisector, the only way I can name it is line K. I don't have 2 capital letters. The only way I can name it is line K. Segment bisector in number 4, MA. Segment bisector in number 5, point M. Segment bisector in number 6, line little s. There's nothing else you could do for segment bisectors. Now, find the length of R to S. Well, if this is 17, this side is 17, R to S is 17 plus 17, or 34. R to S. If this side's 9, then this is 9. I'm going to go over here, you guys. Sorry, it was getting cramped. 9 plus 9 is, oh, hey. Are you going home or are you just going to be here for a little while? I'm making a video right now and I can't even, I love you. You've been on my mind that you've been praying for you. Will you come back in a little while?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I do. I want to talk to you. All right. 12. RS is, that was just in my video. Yep, I was just hugging Star Shay. So 2 parts. If it's on the review, it's on your test.
That gives me hope.
All right, now, do we got some more here? Yeah. Find the midpoints. So midpoint formula is one that you guys will get. Midpoint formula is one that you'll get. I'll provide you with any formulas you need. You add your x's together and divide by 2. You add your y's together and divide by 2. That's going to give you the midpoint. And so for number 15, your midpoint of CD is going to be 3. Well, let me do this in a couple parts. I want to write this a little bit bigger. My pencils. 3 plus 7, those are the x's, divided by 2. The y's are going to be negative 5 plus 9 divided by 2. 3 plus 7 divided by 2 is going to be 10 divided by 2, or 5. Negative 5 plus 9 divided by 2 is going to be 4 divided by 2, or 2. The midpoint of CD is 5 and 2. For number 16, x's, negative 4 plus 0 divided by 2. Y's, 7 plus negative 3 divided by 2. Negative 4 plus 0 is negative 4. When I divide by 2, I get negative 2. 7 plus negative 3 is also 4. When I divide by 2, I get positive 2. The midpoint for 16 is negative 2, 2. 17, oh boy. 17, negative, where am I at? Negative 2 plus 4 divided by 2 for x's. Y, 0 plus 9 divided by 2 for y's. I'm going to get 2 over 2, or 1. X value's midpoint is 1. 9 over 2, which is 4.5, or if you left it as 9/2, that's fine too, or 4.5. Not a problem. Number 18. 18. Negative x is negative 8 plus negative 4 over 2. Y is negative 6 plus 10 over 2. That's going to be negative 12 over 2, or the midpoint sitting at negative 6, comma, negative 6 plus 10 is 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And this video will be posted, so I know I'm going through these quickly, but you guys can go back to them if you need to. And again, midpoint formula is one that you'll have. Find the perimeter of triangle CDE. I'm down in this next crowd, and I know the numbering was weird, but I just had to grab problems from different places that made sense for you guys to review. Perimeter of CDE. Well, the one thing that I'm noticing is that CDE appears to be isosceles. That C to E and E to D would be the same length. And then when I go in here to start going perimeter, perimeter is the distance around. Well, from C to D is 4 units. And let me go do the AE. Let's see. No, that's not an A. C to E. And so this is going to be, I put it into C and E. 4, negative 1. E sitting at 2, negative 3. The question is from here, how far apart? 2. How far apart? 2. So the length of A to E is going to be the square root of 2 squared plus 2 squared. That's going to be the square root of 8. If this side is the square root of 8, this side is the square root of 8. The perimeter of CDE is going to be the square root of 8 plus the square root of 8 plus 4. And that will be 9.65. 9.65 approximately. 9.66 actually. So the thing that you need to make sure that you do, you guys, is in your calculator that you're actually going, when you go square root of 8, close the parentheses. Take a look at this one, Matthew, the difference. It's probably why yours was funky. Okay, well, there you go. Now you know. Now, what's the perimeter of ABF? All right, now perimeter of ABF. I know that B to F, how do you guys think I know this? B to F is the square root of 8. How? Look across from it. Yep, I got a rectangle sitting here. This is gonna, B to F is gonna be the square root of 8. So, oh no, rectangle. Oh yeah, okay, I'm good. Rectangle, let me get a color here. Oh yeah, color. So rectangle BCEF, yeah, right on. So 2 of the sides are square root of 8. They tell me it's a rectangle, so I know I got 2 square root 8s that I'm gonna add up, square root 8, square root 8. But then I need to know how long are the other sides. And since it's a rectangle, then I'm gonna go and find that, let me do this B to C side. If you did the F to E side, you'd get the same thing. Put my points in for B to C. 0, 3, 4, -1. How far apart? 4. How far apart? 4. So that's BC is the square root of 4 squared plus 4 squared. So that's the square root of 32. 4 squared is 16. 16 plus 16. So 2 of the sides are square root 8. 2 of the sides are the square root of 32. When I add them together to get the perimeter all the way around, 2, it's bigger than, is it 12? Okay, let me see. Square root, 2 square roots of 32. I got 16.97. Square root of 2 plus, or square root of 8, and again, make sure that you're doing square root 8, close it, plus square root 8, close it, plus square root 32, close it, plus square root 32, close it. 16.97. All right, now, hey, come on in. We're on chapter 1 review. We're about 3rd page in.
Oh yeah, I got it.
Perimeter of ABF. Perimeter of ABF. You know what, you guys? We're kind of overdoing this distance form. I'm gonna cross that one off. Quadrilateral. I just want to do a couple areas. 19 and 20. I feel like we're kind of overdoing this here, and I don't want to work too much longer on chapter 1. Find the area of triangle CDE. CDE. Triangle CDE, it's base time. Remember, triangles are 1/2 base times height. Area of a triangle, or whatever the base times height is, divided by 2. The base of that would be square root 8, and the height is square root 8. Square root 8 times square root 8 up top is going to just be 8. 8 divided by 2, the area of that triangle is going to be 4. And then that rectangle BCEF, we already messed around with that one. I know that in a rectangle's area is just length times width. That's going to be the square root 8 times square root 32. Go put that in your calculator and make sure you wrap up parentheses on that. Just a square root 8 times square root 32. I got 16. Go into your calculator and figure out what's going on. You got to close the parentheses. Oh, yeah, that's 22. And then area of this we didn't do, and I'm not worried about this last one. I got what I wanted out of that group. These honestly were actually a little more complicated than what's even on your exam like this. It is. It's a little more complicated. Number 33, let's see here. 33 through 36, I know I only gave you 2 parts here. This is a bisector, which means that it splits this angle into 2 equal parts. Those 2 angles are equal. The measure of PQS is 63. Find the measure of RQS. Well, what's that going to be?
63.
And then the measure of PQR, the whole thing. Whole thing is, so the measure of PQR, that was the whole thing, is 126. RQS is the 63. Now they go and say, all right, same drawing. Now RQS, so in this one, let me just draw it again. Oh, that's not even drawn very well, you bozo. Okay, let me just draw it again here. P, Q, it's same diagram, just different measures. R, and they say PQS, no wait, RQS is 71. What's the others? Well then, this is going to be 71. PQS is 71. And then what's 71 plus 71? 142. All right.
Oh, I forgot there was a back page.
Complements. Add to 90 degrees. If one complement is, so if angle 1 is a complement to angle 2, and you don't have to be this formal, but that means that the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 is going to be equal to complements add to 90. So if you know that angle 1 is 23, then the measure of angle 2, measure angle 2 is going to be 90 minus 23,
67.
which is 67. 3 is a complement of 4, and we know what 3 is. Well, then the measure of angle 4 is going to be 90 minus 46. That's going to be 44 degrees. Supplements, they add to 180. So the measure 5 is a supplement of 6. If 5 is 78, then the measure of angle 6 is 180 minus 78, which is 102 degrees. And the measure of angle 8 in number 10 here, measure of angle 8 is going to be 180 minus 109, and that's going to be 71 degrees. And then last but not least for this one, these two angles are complements. That means then, I'm going to come down here for number 13. If the two angles are complements, then their sum is going to add to 90. X minus 10 plus 4x minus 10 equals 90. So I'm going to put together like terms. X and 4x is 5x's. Negative 10 minus another 10 is negative 20. I'm going to get to here. If I add 20 to both sides, 5x is 110. What is x, you guys?
22.
Divide by 5, divide by 5, x is 22. Now, numbers 14. 14, these guys are supplements. All right, so they're supplements. Let's put them together. 3x plus 17 plus 1/2 x minus 5 is going to be equal to 180. So what I got is 3.5 x's. I'm going to turn it into 3.5. 3 x's and a half x. I'm going to turn it into 3.5. 17 minus 5 is 12. When I subtract 12 from both sides, I'm going to get 3.5. X equals 168. What do you get when you divide by 3.5? Should be 168. 180 minus 12. 180 minus 12 is 168. When I divide 168 by the 3.5, I'm getting 48. Okay, I didn't write down all the steps in there, but there's all your chapter 1.